Hi, crafties, and welcome to Weekend Crafting Adventures. I'm Kim, and in this crafting project, I have just finished making a wood round welcome door hanger. Let me tell you a little bit about the inspiration behind this project. It's summertime. I am out of teaching for the summer and so excited for this new summer season to be here. I am so excited to get crafty this summer and really come up with some fun, unique ways to use my Cricut Maker and do some fun crafts to share with you. And I had done a wreath before with the paper flowers, and that was back in February. So I kind of feel like it was time to freshen up our front door with a fabulous welcome sign. And I found the absolute perfect one, and I love how it came out. I have so much to share with you about this crafting adventure. I want to tell you about the resource that I used for this crafting project, and it's creativefabrica.com. Creative Fabrica is a one-stop website. It has tons of fonts, of graphics, of crafts and sewing patterns, so many ways to get inspired and to get crafty. So I'm super excited to dig into Creative Fabrica and learn more about what they have to offer through my all access free trial subscription. And here's the best part. Creative Fabrica is also offering all of you the same all access free trial subscription. And so I will be putting on my blog post and my social media a link for you to go ahead and give this a try if you're interested. All of the information about the all access subscription free trial will be listed when you hit the link to check out more information about it. But I already signed up and started my free trial, and I already downloaded my first SVG, and that is what I use to create my beautiful welcome door hanger wood round sign that I made in this crafting project. So let me give you a little more information and highlight a couple of materials for this project. So a couple of them that I do not have in my crafting corner, and there were quite a few for this one, was the wood round door hanger. I did need and want about an 18, almost 19-inch wood round. I really love that size of door hanger, especially for our front door. So I got that wood round. The other thing that I needed was some paint. I decided that I wanted to paint mine an ivory white color. And so I did go ahead and get a spray can of Rust-Oleum Ivory Bisque paint. I did use my 12 by 24 Cricut cutting mat. And the reason I did that is because my SVG is going to be larger than 12 inches. And so in order to accommodate the size for the door hanger, I needed to get my long 12 by 24 inch cutting mat for this project. I got some ribbon. I used two kinds of ribbon, 2.5 inches wide, a burlap and a sunflower pattern ribbon. And I also used some greenery. I really wanted to add some of that farmhouse greenery look with my ribbon for the top of the door hanger sign. And so the two that I chose were a lamb's ear and a eucalyptus. And both of those I purchased at Walmart for $2 maybe each. So really reasonable. I needed some floral wire and hot glue and a staple gun, a lot of different things that I normally am doing or using in my crafting corner. So I probably have forgotten a few of the materials, but I will always have an entire material list on my blog post for this crafting project with all of the information, all of my resources, all of my materials, and where I got them. So you can go ahead and reference that if you're interested in trying this crafting project. So let me get into the experience of this crafting project. The first thing that I did was paint my wood round. I used a Rust-Oleum spray that is an ivory bisque color, just completely covered my wood round. And I did use a foam brush as I was doing the spray paint on the wood, just to make sure that the coat of paint was even and I got really good coverage over the entire wood round. And then I had to let that sit and dry. And that gave me the opportunity to jump into Creative Fabrica and start searching for my first SVG that I wanted to download from them, and find a really fun welcome to put on this wood round. I knew that I wanted to do kind of a scripty welcome that really covered a lot of the wood round. I wanted to have a ribbon with the greenery up at the top, but really what I wanted was a fun, bold, crisp welcome to go across that sign. And so I started digging into Creative Fabrica's website, and there is so much. There's a lot. So it is good that I have a month to kind of explore what is on there, because I chose a really simple project and cut file to download at first. And I know I want to get a little more complicated in my next few projects, but this one was going to be simple. And I found the perfect SVG file for my door hanger, and I found it at Shamsay Studio. I'm pretty sure I probably messed up how you pronounce it, but they had a beautiful welcome SVG that was specifically designed for the wood round door hanger. So it kind of really fit well with the look I wanted and the round door hanger that I was going to be putting together. So that was awesome. I am downloading my new SVG file and easily onto my desktop. So that was really easy to upload and then pop right onto my Cricut Design Space canvas and size it for my wood round. Again, I'm using almost like a 19-inch wood round. And so my cut file is going to be pretty large. I actually ended up making it about 17 inches wide by about 7.5, maybe a little bit bigger than that, tall for the design, which is why, of course, I needed my 12 by 24 inch cutting mat, because I really, really wanted this look, the design, the welcome to really cover a lot of that wood sign. So I did create a little circle guide on my Cricut Design Space canvas so I could really size that welcome the exact way that I wanted it to look on the round. That was an easy process. And then I got to cutting out this welcome. So my choice here was heat transfer vinyl or permanent vinyl. And whenever there's an option between heat transfer vinyl and permanent vinyl, I go with heat transfer vinyl. I just don't love weeding out permanent vinyl. And I know that probably most people that would be doing this type of project would be using the permanent vinyl, and that's awesome. And it is great for this project. But I just really love heat transfer vinyl, the ease of weeding it. And for the most part, I really have had good luck and experiences attaching it to lots of different materials in my crafting projects. So I went with heat transfer vinyl. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a few minutes, but cutting it out was easy. The Cricut did a great job cutting out. This SVG file is beautiful, cuts beautiful, weeded beautiful. And then I got to putting that welcome design onto my painted wood round. And this is where things got a little bit more challenging than I really wish they would have. I'm not sure if it was the kind of paint I used. I'm not sure if it was the kind of heat transfer vinyl that I used. I have put heat transfer vinyl on painted wood before in my seasonal home sign that I made with the basswood. So I knew that it was possible. I knew that you can do it. But for some reason, attaching this heat transfer vinyl to my painted wood round did not go as smooth as I was hoping it would have. I did use my Cricut mini heat press for this, and I used butcher paper in between my heat press and the welcome design. And I did that because I wanted to protect my heat press from any paint getting on it or anything like that. And I also wanted to protect the design. And I was really hopeful that by using that technique that I would have no problem heating up that heat transfer vinyl and getting it to stay and attach onto the wood. It just didn't go well. I ended up having to really take my time and heat up section by section, letter by letter with my mini heat press and the butcher paper. And this took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to. I think I made up for the weeding time with now putting the heat transfer vinyl onto the painted wood round. So if I do a project like this again, which I'm pretty sure I will because I love how it turned out, I'm going to do permanent vinyl. I am just not going to use the heat transfer vinyl with this size of a design on the painted wood. So that is one thing that I definitely learned in this process. I did eventually get everything attached and it looks great. There were a couple of places where when I was heating up the heat transfer vinyl design on top of the wood round, that when I peeled up the butcher paper, it kind of messed up my paint. So I did have to go back and do a little bit of touch up in a few places where when I was lifting up the butcher paper after heating the design, my paint kind of either pulled up or it got a little bumpy. I just didn't like the way it looked, but that was a really quick fix. Just had to go through and touch up with that Rust-Oleum ivory bisque color that I used. And while that was drying again, I started putting together my greenery and my bow for the top of the door hanger sign. And this part of the project was so enjoyable. I love arranging flowers. It's relaxing to me and fun. And I'd never made a bow before, this kind of bow. I mean, I've wrapped gifts with bows, but this is a whole different kind of bow. And so this next part of the project was really enjoyable. I took 2 pieces of the greenery for each side. I did a lamb's ear on each side, and I did a eucalyptus on each side. Because I'm in Colorado and it's a farmhouse kind of wood round sign, I really wanted to just stick with the greenery and the bow on the top. I decided not to put any other kinds of flowers into that top by the bow. I just really wanted that green and then the pop of the sunflower bow. So arranging the greenery took me a little bit just because I kind of had to go back and forth of putting the greenery together and kind of bending it around the top of my sign for placement, and also arranging the eucalyptus and the lamb's ear so that they didn't just look like they were layered on top of each other. I wanted it to have a natural look, even though they're fake greenery. I really wanted it to have kind of a natural look of just kind of being intertwined with each other. So that took some time to bend and adjust the different pieces of greenery together. Once I did that, I took my floral wire and wrapped it together so that it would just stay in place. So I got that greenery exactly where I wanted it, used my floral wire to wrap around it to keep it in place. And then I got started on my bow. This was so much fun. A lot of investigation on how to make a bow. The resources that I found were using something called it was some kind of bow tool. It was like a wood dowel bow pro tool. And I don't have one of those. So I really kind of watched different techniques and kind of did my own twist on a couple different techniques. So there was really not one resource that I used. So what I ended up doing, taking the sunflower ribbon, putting the burlap ribbon underneath that, and then starting to create a bow that had 2 tails, and then it had 4 loops. So 2 loops on each side, and then a fun little top loop in the middle. So my 4 loops that were on each side, they were about 4 inches, maybe a little bit more wide. And I didn't want to go with a really large bow. I really wanted it to be kind of like a nice, cute, compact bow right at the top. And I wanted my greenery to be coming out from under that bow. So it all kind of really looked good together. In the process of making the bow, it took me 2 times. I did one and I didn't love it. I felt like my loops were too long and they kind of got saggy, and I didn't like how that would be looking, especially knowing that it was going to be hanging on our front door with a lot of opening and closing and things like that. I thought that for the purpose of having it on our front door, it would best be kind of more compact bow. So I did a lot of twisting and a lot of measuring with my hands and bringing the ribbons over and twisting again, and it actually came out beautiful. 2 really important things about this bow that I did pick up from watching different people make different bows videos all over the internet was that using zip ties to help not only keep the bow together, but also then to attach my greenery to the bow. Zip ties are amazing. They really, really worked well. And I really feel like the way that the zip tie holds the bow together, and then how a second zip tie is holding the greenery to my bow, that is going to stay in place. That is not moving anywhere. And I did use my pliers to really tighten up those zip ties so that there wouldn't be a lot of movement, again, because this sign is going on our front door. After I got my bow attached to my greenery, I took a good amount of time in kind of placing that bow and greenery on the wood round. And I really wanted to make sure that I had it centered so that when it was hanging, that middle of the bow was really the middle of my sign. And then I used hot glue to attach the greenery and the bow to the top of my wood round. And then once that hot glue set, I took my staple gun and I got right up in there on top and I stapled that greenery down as best I could. I think I did probably, I want to say 2 to 3 staples way up top. You can't see them, but underneath on the eucalyptus and the lamb's ear greenery to really attach that well to my wood round. And that is it. And it looks beautiful. I really think that this is one of my most favorite crafting projects that I've done with my Cricut and just in crafting in general. I absolutely love how the Welcome farmhouse font looks. I love the script. I love the style. I love how it fits perfectly into that wood round shape. I really love the greenery and the sunflower bow. Sunflowers just remind me of summer, and the bright yellow and the white and all those different colors coming together with the greenery accent. It just looks beautiful. And I really am super excited to put it on our front door and just enjoy it all season long. So let me tell you about my crafting keepers for this crafting project. My first crafting keeper is, of course, going to be the resource and the website Creative Fabrica. I am so excited to just jump in and learn a lot about what they have to offer in terms of different crafting ideas and inspiration and projects. They have so much that I feel like I'm really going to have fun putting some really cool crafting projects together and sharing them with you. And of course, just the opportunity to try an all access subscription free trial. That's pretty cool. So I hope that if it is something you're interested in, you take advantage of the opportunity to also get this all access subscription free trial. Click on the link, check it out. If it's something you're interested in, see, maybe you'll find some inspiration or different designs, fonts that you might want to bring into your crafting projects. My second crafting keeper for this episode is definitely going to be the 12 by 24 cutting mat. There is no way that with my 12 by 12 cutting mat, I would have been able to create this welcome design the size that I really wanted it to be for this project. And just having that bigger cutting mat allowed me to get the design exactly the size that I wanted it to create the exact look that I wanted for my project. So that 12 by 24 cutting mat is a keeper. My satisfaction rating for this project, it's going to get a 4.5. There is so much about this project that I love. I love the summer feel. I love the door hanger, farmhouse door hanger look with the beautiful welcome design, the sunflower bow, the greenery. There's just so much that I love about this project. But the one thing that I did not love that really surprised me was the challenge in getting my heat transfer vinyl to stick and attach to my painted wood round. Because of that frustration and just not going well, not going the way I really wanted it to, or I think that it could if I would have used permanent vinyl, I had to knock it down to a 4.5. So again, like I said, I would recommend doing permanent vinyl if you're going to be trying this crafting project. I just think that with the size of the design, and maybe it could have been the paint I was using, but I'd go with the permanent vinyl on this one. So that is my crafting project. I really hope that this project inspires you to get your Cricut off the shelf and get crafty. And until our next adventure, take care.
That's all for this episode of Weekend Crafting Adventures. Now go get that Cricut machine off the shelf and get crafty. For more information on this crafting project, interesting tips, tricks, and techniques, visit WCApodcast.com. Until next time, when we embark on another adventure.